All right, here we go. Good evening. This is WHFS Bethesda, Maryland, and joining us tonight is Bobby Whitlock, who is a veteran rock and roller. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm just fine.
That's good. You're in Washington for a couple of nights, doing a couple of gigs, let's see, out in Virginia and at the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
On Friday night. You got a new band together also.
Yeah, I do.
You want to introduce us to
yeah, the guy right here on my right,
band?
He's from Memphis, and he's a bass player. His name is Stanley Cecil, and sitting next to him is one of the drummers. We got two drummers, and his name is Ron Red Rock Edwards, and he's from Spartanburg, South Carolina. That boy right there is from Nashville, Tennessee, and he plays lead guitar, and his name is Billy Crane.
Mm-hmm. Is this the first time on the road for this group?
Yeah. I think last night was about our 24th gig that we've done. And we've only been together a couple of months.
I guess people know you from being a Domino, working with Eric Clapton.
Yeah, and the real oldies know me from Delaney and Bonnie, and the real oldies know me from Memphis.
Right. I'm just curious, like you've got a reputation as a session man, you know, as working in the studio a lot, and you don't tour that much, but occasionally you come out. Why is that? Why don't you tour regularly?
I haven't really had it together in the last couple of years to do what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it, and it's taken up until this time to get the band that I wanted, because I seem to go through a lot of musicians to get all my business straight and just to do what I'm supposed to be doing out here, you know.
Mm-hmm. How'd you get started in rock and roll, if we can go back a ways?
Let's see. Singing in church. I was singing in church, right? And then when I got to singing out of church. I went from the Lord to the devil, so to speak. So hear my granny say it.
What was you say the first major band that you had together?
The first major band was I was in the Counts. Stan was in the Counts with me. He goes back. We were in one of our bands together when we were like 16 and 17.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And
that was in Memphis. They had a record, but we weren't on the record. We just took everybody else's place when they got old.
Mm-hmm. Where's your home base? I mean,
Memphis. We're based out of Memphis. Everybody's from like Memphis and Nashville and Knoxville and South Carolina, and like one other guy, Bob Tasillo, other drummer. He's from Knoxville, but we're all living in Memphis, and like I'm living in Raleigh, just outside of Memphis.
How'd you hook up with Delaney and Bonnie?
Delaney, Duck Dunn had heard them somewhere. I think it was he went to do something in California, like when it was the time of the Shindogs, or right after the Shindig show.
Oh yeah.
You know, right after that, and he came back and said that that's when he had met Delaney, and then Delaney got hooked up with Bonnie, and he heard them out there singing, and he came back and said, "I want to bring this dude and this chick that sings really great back and record them." And so they come back. They was doing what was supposed to be their first album, but turned out to be their second, and that was a Stax album. And that's when I met them. They came down and heard of Stan and I were in the band then, playing in a honky-tonk joint. And they came in and asked me to go to California, and I said, sure.
Okay, well, let's listen to something from Delaney and Bonnie's Friends album, and then we'll come back and chat some more. Okay, this is part 2.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah, that was okay. We're getting it together.
It really is. Can we play it again, man?
Yeah, one more time. One more time.
Okay, we're back and we're speaking with Bobby Whitlock and the members of his band. Does your group have a name, by the way?
The Bobby Whitlock Band.
The Bobby Whitlock Band.
BWB.
And we should mention again that you're playing Thursday at Louis Rock City and Friday at the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
For one show in both places. What kind of material are you guys doing in concert?
We do, it's all up tempo. It's good rock and roll. it's real strong. What with having two drummers, it's real strong. And Stan's a real tasty, strong bass player. Billy Bill's the best guitarist I've ever worked with, and I'm singing and playing better than I ever have. So it's all the material's really good. We do a little country thing, a couple of country numbers. Like I do Thorn Tree in the Garden, and we do a couple of Domino numbers, but like some of that I wrote, like Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad and Tell the Truth. But it's our version of it, our rendition, and just real, real strong. That's the only outside things that we do. The rest of it's all a lot of new material and a couple things off of my other albums, like Where There's a Will, There's a Way we do. It's off the first album. Right.
Well, let me ask you, how'd you hook up with Clapton? How did the whole concept of Derek and the Dominos get started? Because I can remember in '69, like Cream was breaking up, and then the one solo album came out, and then bang, he just went into
yeah, well, he did the Blind Faith thing, and then we were managed by this guy in California that happened to know Eric, and so he got in touch with Eric and said, "You got to hear this band." So Eric came and heard us, and we went on the Blind Faith tour, and then blew them away, because Delaney and Bonnie and Friends was dynamite group. And after that, Blind Faith broke up. Eric came with us and did a tour, and then Leon Russell and all the rest of the people, Entourage, split from Delaney and did the Joe Cocker thing. I stayed behind and helped Delaney reform the other band, which consisted of a couple of the guys that's in Elvis Presley's band, Jerry Sheff and Ronnie Tate. We did an album and everything. And then I got sick of the whole mess with Delaney and Bonnie, husband and wife and all that team. Because it's a real drag, man. I'll tell you real straight, it's a drag working with a husband and wife.
Family, domestic
Yeah, I mean, they
disputes.
sing good and all that good music, but it's a bummer,
Yeah.
I mean, I love them and everything, but, it's a drag. I couldn't handle it. And so I said, I'm going to get out of here, because this is crazy. And so I called Eric and said, hey, man, let me come over and just get my head cleared out a little bit, Yeah. And he said, sure. And so, I don't think he expected me to show up. I was there like the next morning. I was gone. My first wife, I said, here's your airplane ticket, baby, and here's you some money, and hit the road, and I'll see you later.
But how was it?
I'm going to England.
How was it?
Anyway, let me tell you. You asked me how we got together. Now let me tell you.
Okay.
So I got to England, and I was just going to stay there, just to relax. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And so we got to writing some songs. And then this maybe 4 months later after I was there, Eric said, let's put together a group, man. Let's get us a band. I said, okay. We got the material. And so it was originally supposed to have been Jim Keltner playing drums, right? But it wound up to be Jim Gordon, because Jim Gordon was quicker on the draw.
So what you're saying, Bobby, is Derek and the Dominos originated in England?
Yeah, it did, in Eric's house out in Surrey.
Uh-huh.
We all lived there and rehearsed there in the living room.
It must have been pretty fine working with him.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. Doing the All Things Must Pass album was really... That whole album was mainly the Dominos, with everybody else just kind of sitting in, like Billy Preston and all those people. Because the whole rhythm section, the whole thing was the Derek and the Dominos. That's when we was putting the band together, right in that area. Area?
Uh-huh. Okay, well, let's listen to Thorn Tree in the Garden and a couple other things off of Derek and the Dominos, and then we'll come back.
Great. Wasn't that out of sight?
No,
Part 3.
great.
Okay. Hey, man, you really get going.
You just don't know.
Really?
Look, he came prepared. He's got all these records.
Okay, that's Derek and the Dominos from the classic Double Set album. We're speaking with Bobby Whitlock. If you just tuned in, this is WHFS Bethesda, Maryland. And Bobby, you were telling us that Derek and the Dominos were short-lived. They didn't stay together too long. How long were you together as a unit or a band?
Oh, actually, it's maybe about a year and a half, 2 years. We were together before that, But as a working unit, it's about a year and a half or 2 years. Because we did about 3 English, British and European tours. Like we did the club circuit, the Chitlin circuit. And then we did like college, and small listening rooms. And then we did the larger concerts, which isn't that big in England. But then we did the One American tour. We did the Layla album and the live album. And we got back off of our tour and went into the studio to do our next album. And everything just, tension was too tight and everything just kind of blew up.
There's a rumor that there's still like a lot of unreleased tracks from the Dominos.
That'll blow anything that has been done since away.
Is it possible that we'll be seeing that in the future?
I don't know. It's real strong material. Real strong. It was a lot stronger, I think, or as strong than the Layla album. But then again, I like the live album,
Yeah.
I like the live album because it was really just right there.
Yeah.
Material is real good because we just come off the road doing 40-something one-nighters, and so the band was just smoking, and we went into the studio and just kicking those things out. But Eric was kind of thinking, he had it up. He was thinking, what we're gonna do to follow an album like the Layla album? I said, well, just do another one. Don't be such a fatalist. It's easy, man. Took me 20 minutes to write Keep On Growing. It ain't no big thing. Just sit down and do it.
Do you still see Eric or jam with him?
I hadn't seen him in years, man, but I've talked to him every now and then.
Have you heard his new album, Slow Hand?
No. I heard part of it, as a matter of fact, I heard it on a radio station. They played something, Lay Down Sally or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to listen to some of it before you go.
Yeah,
and
check it out.
Let you see what it's about. The latest thing that you've done.
I'll do 7 That's Greats, and you can just splice one, after each case. That's great.
Whoops. All right. Go ahead, say it. That's great.
That's great, man. That's great, man.
Okay. This
great,
is
man.
Part 4.
That's great.
Okay.
Boy, that is wonderful. Far out. Jesus.
Okay, this is WHFS Bethesda, Maryland, and we're speaking with Bobby Whitlock. Bobby, your latest album, Rock Your Socks Off, you remade Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? You did it again.
I might do it again if it strikes me.
You do it in concert.
Yeah, because it's just, that was like my interpretation of something that I co-wrote with Eric. That's the way I heard it. And now that I've got to this point in my music and my listening, I've lived with it this long, I've got another impression, and with this group, as to how it should go. And so if it strikes me, that's the nice thing about writing your own material, because you can cut it as many times as you want. Tell the truth. Well, now I found out it's been cut again. You showed me that album. Now that probably makes about 9 times that thing's been cut, and 8 of them are by the same band. We cut it all kind of different ways, so it don't matter, as long as it's good, and
Yeah, we do have a treasure here. It's Derek and the Dominos concert recorded live in '72, supposedly in North Carolina, with Knocking on Heaven's Door and a Badge, a Cream thing, and Can't Find My Way Home. And it's unusual. We should listen to this.
Yeah,
it's
and
see what you think of it.
It's hot is what it is.
If you remember it. You do remember it, don't you? Okay, let's listen to it.
Yeah, I remember. This is great.
Okay, we'll listen to this, and then we'll come back. Hey, man.
What stuff you doing with the band?
Okay,
really.
That's Bobby Whitlock from his latest album, and we're speaking with him tonight. So, Bobby, you've traveled a lot of miles on the road, I'm sure. Been on a lot of tours.
Been a lot of places, seen a lot of faces.
Right. The particular tour that you're on now, where does that lead you to after you leave the University of Maryland?
It's going to lead us to this dude's house in Washington. We're going to play this party for Normal.
Uh-huh.
And then it's going to lead us back up close to Pennsylvania. and we're playing Roadhouse up there, called Painter's Mill. Is that it? What is it?
Peddler's Pub.
Peddler's Pub. I don't know. I don't know.
You put in a plug and play.
I remember when you played up in Frederick about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That
I was there.
You've been through D.C. a couple of times.
Yeah, and I liked it. Every time I come up here, it's always good. Everybody's really good and real receptive, and I always remember, I've had people come up and say, man, I remember when you were in Frederick, right? Or I remember when I played a Domino gig and it was late and this and that. They said, it's good, and it's people coming up and, hey, I got every one of your albums. I say, thanks. That's really out of sight,
Mm-hmm.
Because they be into it, asking for, requesting numbers, all different. So you kind of feel at home,
Yeah, you've been hanging out in the studio a lot.
No, I was, like you say, I was a session picker. I wasn't really a session picker because when I left Memphis, the only reason I was in the studio so much is because I did so many albums, and I've done about 16 or 17 albums, and so just consequently in the studio. But I wasn't in there like working, just making a session 3 hours and then clocking in, clocking out like that.
Yeah.
I just I'm going to clarify that little statement there.
Okay. The last Bonnie Bramlett album, Lady's Choice, where she did all those real nice rock and roll standards. You worked on Let's Go, Let's Go, Let's Go, right?
Yeah, there's a Thrill on the Hill.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're all good. It's a good idea for an album, because she can really sing, and that woman can sing, boy.
She hadn't
and
been
do all
out.
those old tunes. Linda Ronstadt did all old tunes, but Linda Ronstadt can't sing like Bonnie Bramlett.
Yeah.
Then again, Bonnie Bramlett ain't as hot looking as Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah, point. Why doesn't Bonnie tour? And do you know? I mean, she hasn't been out for a while.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
She's down there with Phil Wallen and them. It didn't take me long. I'm not with Capricorn or anybody anymore. Let everybody know that.
Yeah, we should let people know that.
Well, I'm out on my own now. We're in the midst of record deals and all that. We're more interested in putting this band together here and getting this thing happening. What did you ask me?
What did I just ask you? We were talking about Bonnie. I said, why didn't she put a band together
You
and
can
do a
just say
tour?
anything you want. Break.
Yeah, hey, let's change the direction here a little bit.
Okay.
Can you break off here and let's
Yeah.
start all over?
Sure.
He does long interviews.
This thing
This
kind
is
of
a good
rolling.
one.
on.
There's people who listen to this. This is
Yeah.
excellent.
Let's start
Yeah.
getting off on the track that we're going now.
Okay,
You know,
well, see, I'm just trying to get as
heavy-
much stuff
Right.
as I can.
Because I want to get heavy into the new emphasis because this is the powerful group we've got now.
Okay.
The past is good, and we need to relate to
Right,
all of it.
good, that's what
But
we
then
got.
we've stopped, and we put all that behind us, and we've set a totally new high energy direction.
Okay, well,
And
let's
we're coming out of the south.
Right.
let him
He
talk.
got it together. He'll get it. He ain't screaming. She'll talk to the multitudes. Say hello to your mom, Jim.
Mother.
Okay,
Here you
we're speaking with Bobby Whitlock and the members of the new Bobby Whitlock band. And let me ask you this. Now that you've come out on the road and you've headed in a different direction, I mean, you've got a different direction that you're taking the band. I don't even know what I'm asking. I'll try it again.
One more time.
What do you want me to ask?
Well, listen.
Okay. You ask your own questions and answer 'em. No.
Listen. It's like where I'm at in my music now, right? And with this group right here is like the epitome of over half of my life's work. You understand?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a Southern cat. I'm from Memphis. I lived in Europe and did all of that and went crazy for 5 or 5.5 years. But when I got right back to it, I went back home where my roots were. And this band just epitomizes all of the other people, all the George Harrisons, the Eric Claptons, the Dwayne Allmans, the Delaney and Bonnies, and Stephen Stills, and everybody else. because this band is better than any other people I've ever worked with. It's better than any band I've ever been in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're Southern-based rock and roll, but like Billy's 23 years old, man. It's like a 23-year-old body with a 48-year-old picker in it. He's gonna scare Eric Clapton and people like that to death, you know. Just we're pickers. We're real serious about our music, and nobody got their head stuck where it shouldn't be, you know. No star trips and no weird going down. We're really serious about our music, you know, and we all come from the same roots, you know. Red Rocks from South Carolina.
But we've overlooked that.
But, you know.
because he acts well.
Well, that makes it all right. You're Tennessee proxy, right? Tennessee by proxy. But see, we're all Tennessee boys. I learned you can't trust nobody from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh-huh.
They'll try to steal your woman and your money.
Georgia and Alabama people.
Yeah, we got rid of that Tuscaloosa syndrome. You know, we've been through a lot of changes, you know, with different pickers. And this is we've got the band that we have now is the band that's going to go to the top, right, of this music business. And it's the band that's going to be here 12 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Is there a good possibility that after the tour's over, we'll see an album from the
Yeah, we're talking
new
about
band?
going in the studio late January, early February, depending on how our record deal goes. See, I've been out on the road. We've been out on the road really working real hard, just any and everywhere, working for free, just whatever, just so we could get to people and let everybody get a chance to hear us, get us a chance to expose ourselves, break in this new material.
Get the ball rolling.
Yeah, really. So when it comes record time, we're ready.
Well, I'll look forward to that when it does happen. Well, I'd like to thank you, Bobby, for coming by. And again, we'd like to urge everyone to stop out to the University of Maryland on Friday. Or if they didn't see you at Louis Rock City on Thursday night, they're in for a real good show.
They sure are. I guarantee that.
New Bobby Whitlock band. You've heard.
You can't see this, Bethesda, but I'm shaking his hand.
And maybe the next time you come through Washington, you'll come by and say hi.
I
We'll
will.
be here.
Bring
I will.
Eric Clapton with you if he's with you or something. See what he has to say.
All right. Let's see what we can work out.
Do you have a favorite song that you like to close with on either your latest album or any of them?
Say, have you ever felt like leaving?
Okay, that's a good one.
Different.
We'll end
I just
with
thought
that.
I'd throw that in there, you know?
Yeah. The next
Or going to California, because we're going to California too.
the next time you come by, maybe you'll pull some records and play disc jockey.
Sure, I'm great at that.
Play some of your favorite records and
Right here out of Bethesda, Maryland.
no, I mean
Is this Washington? Is it D.C.?
this is it's close enough. Close enough.
Bethesda, D.C.
No, a lot of times people come up, and they got the time and they just pull records and sit in for a while. Like you
we'll
got to
do
come
it.
up sometime when I'm on the air. That's
No,
what you
we'll
got to
do
do.
it, man.
I'll do it.
And pull some records.
We're out there.
Again, Bobby, I'd like to thank you and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
with
Come
your
out
new
tomorrow
band.
night, ain't you?
Definitely, I'll be there and I'll
Okay.
see you. And good luck to all you guys in the band. So long.
Out of sight. Thank you, man.
Anytime, Bobby.
Hello, this is
Wait.
who?
Okay, hello, this is Bobby Whitlock.
Okay, WHFS
You're listening to
Bethesda.
Thomas on WHFS Bethesda.
Hello. I don't say hello.
Whatever you want to say.
How you doing? This is Bobby Whitlock, and you're listening to Thomas on WHFS in Bethesda, Maryland. As George Harrison would say, Maryland. And as some of you kids might say, Fairyland.